Okay, so this is our one red paperclip presentation by Katie, Deborah, Yassine, and Chris. So we started off some group goals and strategies. Obviously, our goal was to recreate a version of the original red paperclip project by getting the highest value possible items by the end of 3 weeks. To do this, we wanted to leverage our own personal connections and community connections and aligned interest to create the most value from each trade. We use a variety of trading platforms and strategies, both open source through in-person and connections, or online with unknown trading partners.
So before we made any trades, we first established a few ground rules as a group. The first one was our reservation value, which we established as the book value of the current item in our possession. So if we currently had something worth $100, we decided that we wouldn't want to trade it for anything less than that $100. Our aspiration value, though, would be as high as we could possibly go. And then we would always have a bat no, which would just be to walk away and reach out to somebody else. We also decided that we wouldn't make any trades until we could get approval from the majority of the group, which is 3 out of the 4 members. And then if anyone ever had any doubts about a possible trade, we would have a discussion about the pros and cons, and then we would decide on where to go from there, again, having a second vote to get majority approval. So our first trade was going from a red paperclip to a small mirror. So I texted a few friends individually and a few group chats as well as soon as we got the project. And most of the responses I got were jokes, as you can see from 2 people offering me a firm handshake in exchange for the paperclip. But then when I mentioned that it was for a class project, people got more sympathetic and I got some more serious offers, which is when my friend suggested that I could get his mirror because essentially he got a pack of 2 and he didn't need the second one, so he was just going to give it away. And I immediately accepted. So what we learned was that saying that's for a class project triggers sympathy and more serious responses when people know why you're doing this. And then we decided it wouldn't be worth it to haggle because we have such low value items and we're not essentially in a position to be haggling.
So as for the next trade, decided to trade the mirror for 2 alligator bags. The reason why I was able to do this trade is I was moving with a friend of mine, and he was just throwing things away, and he was in the process of moving. So he had 2 laying like the alligator bags that he was gonna throw away. So I decided to take that trade. The reason why I thought it was a positive trade is because the mirror first of all, it was like a broken mirror. And the second reason is the alligator bags are gonna allow us to be have a bigger niche, bigger possible for other trades. And in this trade we both won. I was able to get the bags and he was able to get mirror for his apartment. So for the next trade, it was Katie who did it. She decided to trade one of the alligator bags for a Kate Spade purse. The reason why she did that is she was trying to the reason how she said to her friend that it was a trade that we had to do in class. So that's how she got it.
And then from yeah, I can talk more about this. So then during one of my club meetings, I spoke out and said I had an announcement for the whole group, and I asked if anybody else wanted to make a trade. And I was able to show the first Kate Spade bag as well as the second alligator bag. So I gave them options. And after the meeting, one girl approached me and said that she did have another Kate Spade bag that she was looking to trade for something that was a little bit more practical for her everyday use. So she gave me that little burgundy backpack because she didn't really have much of a use for it anymore. And she wanted something bigger that she could use with, her classes and a potential co-op coming up. So now we had 2 Kate Spade bags and no more blue alligator bags, but we kind of ran into some issues now because although the Kate Spade bags are kind of high in value, like from their initial purchase, they weren't really as popular these days anymore. So from here, we were kind of running into a roadblock, and that's when around the same time that we had our meeting with the Professor Woodside, and she suggested that we reach out to different demographics. So I actually reached out to my home Facebook group, which I, Deborah was saying earlier, just kind of tried to share that it was for a group project for school, and to see if anybody would be willing to make a trade. Although I got a lot of responses in terms of like, oh, this sounds like a great project, so fun. I only got one person who was willing to make a trade. So we exchanged information, but initially we weren't really willing to make a trade for this item because she was wanting to trade a pair of boots. And because we'd run into so many issues, you can go to the next slide. Because we were running into so many issues with trading the bags, we weren't really sure if we wanted to take on an item that was size specific. It may have been a little bit more challenging to get rid of. So these are the messages if you want to click through them. And because we were on a time constraint, we decided that we were actually going to go through with trading for the boots. So although it wasn't our initial goal to trade for something that was size specific, we ended up making this trade and ultimately ended up trading the burgundy bag for the boots. So at the end of this trade, we're kind of come to our 5 different trades, and we ended up with 1 Kate Spade bag and 1 pair of boots. And now Chris is going to get more into our takeaways.
Yes, those are final items right there. And we had a couple of key takeaways from this whole experience. Obviously, we kind of realized early on that it was going to be difficult to get out of the vertical of the fashion items. And because of that, we realized that the value of the item isn't always the retail price. We knew the retail price for the Kate Spade bags as well as the Frye bag, but the Frye boots, excuse me, but the retail price obviously was not the price, it was the value that the 2 parties held for it. We also were able to leverage the importance of our family, not our family connections, but community connections as well as our personal connections, whether it be Katie's Island community, Martha's Vineyard, or whether it be the Northeastern community. And that was key to being able to make trades. We also saw a steep learning curve from each negotiation, which ultimately led us to find creative solutions, get around the trade blocks that we did have. And we did this, we did end up getting around this by diversifying away from bags into a different fashion item with the boots. And we think that that diversification ultimately created more value. And ultimately what made us decide on this was the time constraint of the project that made our reservation values and our alternatives change over time, ultimately forced us to make those trades. And getting to our exit strategy, ultimately we like to get any monetary return possible for the items post-project. In the end, the Kate Spade bag was valued at $370. The Frye boots current retail price was $400, creating a total aggregate value of $770. So we would like to liquidate these 2 items at a consignment store and hopefully split the proceeds between the group members. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.